What's up, guys? Chimp here with another very quick market update, and this one's going to be super brief. Um, Give the TLDR. I still think there's two-way risks here. I'm going to go over some positioning stuff, and why I could see a situation where we actually end up getting more upside in this market. So let's just first start off by talking about the leverage situation. So open interest, relative to where it was in July, is still quite high. Relative to where it was the last time Bitcoin was sort of at these levels, you know, it's still actually lower, right? So when I look at like global open interest, it actually we're still under 100 billion. Like if we viewed 110 as like this mega warning sign, like, hey, be super cautious, where, we've still deleveraged and that leverage hasn't really come back on. So from that perspective, the leverage situation isn't too bad. When we look now on the flip side, when we look at Bitcoin specifically, it's gone up about 10,000 units of BTC on the way up. So when I look at the market, you can kind of interpret it two ways. Like, hey, the global level is still objectively high, but relative to where it was a week ago, it's low. And in terms of the stablecoin open interest, similar thing, right? Where it was a week ago, it's still pretty low. Where it was a couple days ago, it's actually a bit elevated. So I still think this is a bit like I don't see a super leaning one way or the other. I guess I would say just looking at this number alone. I want to also show the lick maps on Hyperliquid, and I talked about there being this big cluster at around 104, 105, 107. Like that cluster is still there actually, and again, quite a lot of longs to be liquidated. What's interesting, which is what has appeared, is we talked a bit about, hey, there's this guy at 117.5 yesterday. There's a bunch of these shorts that have appeared actually before there, and actually like a couple with licks after that that are vulnerable. And so actually, like when you look at the short side, there's actually way more people who have shorted the market in the last day than there was in the past. And so I can actually see a scenario where this continues to go up and wipe these shorts. And I remember the lick map when we were sitting around 115, 116. There was like big licks like 2K lower, big licks 4K lower. I haven't seen like I think this is a function of the fact that we haven't had like multiple days of high prices and dips for people to buy. So we're actually not seeing like super degenerate longs enter the market right now, in my opinion. In fact, it's actually shorts that are trying to short this. So, and then also like when I look at Bitcoin, like I think a lot of people like even if you caught this low, I know some people like covered here, right? Then the market had the second leg up, and now I'm seeing like people saying, "Hey, like it's time to buy the dip if we get back down to like 112 or so." So maybe the market doesn't actually end up giving that price. Maybe we end up actually chopping here. You have a few more treasuries like Metaplanet, etc. that fill. Maybe you go up a bit more and take out some more short licks. Um, that's if I had to lean right now, I'd say 60-40 up. I think the downside risks are there. I think global OI is, objectively high. I think books are very thin, and I think there has been some leverage added on the Bitcoin side on sexes that is vulnerable. But when I think about the positioning and sentiment and how people are feeling, I could see a situation where we end up chopping or grinding up a bit more. Now, what would be some red flags? Again, I think you start seeing some more of these like really degen apes appear on the long side on Hyperliquid. You start seeing a broad-based alt rally, right? If we start seeing things like Aster go to a new all-time high and whatnot, then I think you get a little bit more worried. But the way things stand right now, I think it's pretty 50-50. I don't think this is a slam dunk short by any stretch. And if you're not in a trade, maybe the best thing to do is stay sidelined. But it's just one man's opinion, and we'll end up seeing what happens. But I figured I'd post a super quick update and go from there. Thanks, guys.